Okay. First of all, welcome. My name is Jim Smanik. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio, and this is my 28th year teaching. Um, I saw Denise was also, I think, no, not Denise, somebody was 28 years, I think Kane. Um, been teaching AP Bio for, I think, 18 years, something like that. But I was part of the writing of AP Insight and just little pilots of little pieces of it, and was just absolutely amazed when I saw it and came together. I used it last year, loved it, but like Kane said, it has a steep learning curve, and I feel like I did not take advantage of the entire tool. Um, but that's what it is. It is a tool, and it's to be used as you see fit. So one thing I want to make clear for tonight, this is your meeting. I have lots I have lots for you. We thought that being the first one, that going through a quick review, um, kind of going through all the little pieces would be helpful. But at any time, if that's the reason you're here, definitely speak up. And there's two times during this where we take a kind of an inventory, a survey of, what do you need, and that will direct how I choose to proceed. So I'm assuming, since nobody has said anything, or at least I didn't see it in the chat, that everybody was able to download the materials and was able to get onto AP Insight. So let's go ahead and proceed. I'm going to, if it's okay, clear this chat so that I can see any new ones that have been up. Anytime that you have a question, um, feel free to type. If you want to grab the microphone, what I would encourage you to do is up on the right-hand corner, or on the top, on the right side, I guess the center, is a um, icon that allows you to raise your hand. And so you can see next to my name a hand. If you don't mind doing that so that I know that you are familiar with that tool. And so if it's something that if you want to speak because you don't want to type it all into a question, definitely do that, and we will stop and talk. It looks like we have a couple that have done this last year, so we'll get some different perspectives, and that's good. And we have some new ones too, so that'll be helpful. Um, so good, Barbara. Were you able to getting all kinds of fun icons there? Yeah, Julian, were you able to do it? Yep, awesome. All right, well then let's get going, and we'll go. So make sure I'm okay here. I think I skipped over one. All right, so once again, this is what I was telling you about. Use your microphone or chat. This is your time, so please feel empowered to use it. And my job is to try to get you answers. And what's kind of good is, nice is that um, we can always email after this if you have further questions. So go ahead and clear your hand up so that I know when it's up there you have a question. I can call on you then. All right. For those of you that have been around a while, know that we don't do anything without the equity and access policy. So if you take a second, please go ahead and read that. Ed, do you have a question? I guess you have fulfilled it. Well done, Kane. Okay, let's go ahead and go ahead and proceed. 50%. Okay, there you go. Okay, goal today, wants you to be able to understand how to use AP Insight. The four parts of it, I'm sure, from previous meetings are prepare, teach, assess, and act, and to address students' misunderstandings. That is what I love about this. So, my goal by the end of today is that you feel comfortable at continuing using it or this year or getting started. Tomorrow, to be honest with you, is my first day doing one with them. So I was busy today building my classes there. So after today's training, you're going to be able to incorporate the assessments into your instruction, anticipate and address student misunderstandings before they get ingrained, engage with colleagues online. And I think that's a very nice piece that we all need, we should take advantage of. We'll address at the end of this also, our little AP Insight community. We will talk about how AP Insight fits into your classroom, how to navigate and the application of the AP Insight resource. It'll just be a refresher if you've seen it, question and answers. And like I said, use the microphone chat box, and then at the end we'll take a survey of what else we can do to meet your needs there. Okay, so what we're going to do is take a look through each of the sections of the challenge areas. So since sometimes have passed, we're going to do a quick refresher of their resources. So if you look at the AP Insight website and you want to select a challenge area, though it's not real easy to see on this screen, or you're reading materials it may be, this is challenge area 3.14. If you're going to do a different one or doing a different one and want to go through that, that is fine. We're going to briefly review it, the prepare, teach, assess, and act resources, and then stop anytime that you want. And as we go through, I'll try to give you some examples of how I used it. Feel free to jump in also with any any successes that you've had also. Okay. All right, so this is the prepare is where you start your planning. Your page would look like this once you are in the challenge area. At my stage, since I've been working with this, I'll be honest, what I do is if I don't have my roadmap in front of me or the resources, this is where I will find, okay, in this challenge area, what are the building blocks? And so, that would elaborate, give me some, quick insight into what are the steps, because they don't all have to be in the same big idea. It also talks about what's hard to teach and learn. This is pretty good we have pretty good experience in this group, but definitely for newer teachers, but really for all of us, a refresher and a reminder of what kids are struggling with, and a chance to anticipate the misunderstandings. This slide is, I don't think that came up the way. Let me see. There we go. This slide is where you find the instructional resources to help build your students' understanding. It's under the Teach tab. This is obviously as you are going to progress. One of the advantages, or one of the benefits that I saw, probably, I think the heart and soul is the assessments, the quizzes, but this whole program encourages reflective learning by the students better than I was ever able to accomplish. And that can be done with the student progress tool. So, it's a nice, you can print it out, and has the students consider concepts, misunderstandings, where they stand, kind of a 1 to 5, where they feel their understanding is, and then justifying it. So it's gets them to think about that metacognition. I'm not a big EduSpeak person, but I think it fits well there. The engaging real world context. So obviously, if we can have hooks and connections, after 28 years, I probably ignorantly feel like I have good ones, so I haven't used those. But there, you know, a couple times when I've looked in there, I said, "Oh wow, I should probably consider changing a little bit." And then the performance tests; those are not just uh, activities. And I think I want to make sure I stress that, because you know we're in the Teach tab. You're thinking, okay, these are resources, and you're kind of ingrained over the years that you know these are activities that they could do, mini labs, problem labs. These are directly connected to the building blocks, to the learning objectives, and allows for some formative, maybe not assessment, but formative learning, where there are stages as we go that build the student understanding in the classroom. The next tab is the one I love. This is where you assign the quizzes. I just as a quick refresher, there's the building block quizzes are 3 to 5 multiple choice. Um, that's what I will be doing tomorrow, going through the first one in class. From that point on, I always assign them for homework. And then there is one challenge area assessment that has 4 to 5 free response questions. I will say right now, and I'll probably say it over and over, I have a nice diverse group of students. I gave them a survey at the end of the year, the day after the quiz, gave them a list of so many things that we did during the year and said rank them on what prepared them best for the AP exam that they just took the day before. And these building block quizzes and challenge area assessments were number one on their list. They do they do exactly what the exam is trying to do. So I highly recommend those. If you're a first timer, you know, I'd like you to use the whole tool, but it's massive. This is where you want to start. And then you're going to get the student reports right back. You'll be able to access the student reports um, from this site also. All right, the last one is the ACT. And so now that you have the uh, you've got results, you've gotten those reports back, you know, um, immediately. You know, what do we do next? So, Kane, do you have to take them online? No. You can print them out. There will be a slide/opportunity later to look at that. It would be under the when you assign it, and so later, a little bit later, we'll look at assigning a quiz, and then I think you are able to do it online, and that's where you would print them out, and then you would scan them. So they do not have to do it online. So, you know, once you've got results, what do you do with it? And so the next step guide, once again, feeds that metacognition, that reflective learning, where the students look at the results. And I want to emphasize this, and I don't know if those of you that have did this last year agree or not, but I found that the suggested reasons or misconceptions or misunderstandings were accurate sometimes, but often students discovered so many things about themselves. A lack of focus, they read it too quick, they didn't pay attention to detail, they misread the data. And so there's so many reasons. And so, you know, the reports are awesome, but also I think even more valuable is the students actually analyzing, coming up with a reason, you know, with or without you. I think that's something they are better to act on. And then you get your group reports. You know, you can class and student feedback, and then targeted resources. So, you know, students, if they have certain misconceptions, there are activities that are going to target those misunderstandings or those misconceptions there. Okay, so what I would want to make sure before we do this, if there's any questions, please, I want to encourage you to keep asking. I asked you guys to get rid of this, and I didn't do it myself with the hand. Um, But if there are no questions, in the chat box, we'd like, if you don't mind, typing the letter next to the statement that best describes your progress at this point. So where are you? And I'm just going to kind of keep a tally here. Thanks, Kane, Julian, Denise. Good. Nice, Misty. I don't know if we need to have you elaborate. Laura. Okay, so most of you are um, in the category that, we're just kind of getting started. Future reference and lessons learned, I guess, is the off season, as I call it, is so important in this. I spent more time this summer. Last year, I wasn't able to do a lot because, like number D or letter D says, it just when school starts, it's a blur. Um, so hopefully today we'll get it set up so that you're willing to or comfortable and confident and get it started here. So um, and Denise, I'll look forward to what you've done here and what you've done, and hopefully we can answer more of your or any of your questions that you have arisen since you've started. So all right, so let's go ahead and proceed. I want to make sure. Okay. Um, Before we go on, I'm actually going to back up for a second just to kind of give some advice. Um, for those of you that have not been able to catch your breath, so a lot of the letter D's and I guess even the C's, step one is going to be getting your classes set up. So you'll really want to pay attention to that. But the next step would be really try to figure out when you can do the quizzes. I think that is the biggest bang for your buck. It's the easiest step um, and will show you and the students the value of it. And I think over depending on your situation, once you get started, it won't be that time consuming. That's what I did last year. I committed to all the quizzes, the challenge area assessments. I did most of them. I kind of broke them up. Um, but I understand greatly that, how hectic it is. So that being said, what I'd like you to do is write what you need. There's a list right here. You can do any, all, one or more topics, whatever you feel you're hoping to get. And what I'm going to do is make a note on my notes here to make sure that I cover those. So if you don't mind typing in some ideas that your focuses are. Okay, Denise, thank you. So, um, okay, so yours is going to be, I want to make sure I address yours, Denise. I'm going to probably when we get to the next steps is when I will, and that's probably the most, one of the most important parts there. So, okay, Barbara. Yeah, that might be, we might have to talk a little bit about that or with AP Insight, the email. They were great. They've helped me. So if they're in the system, um, they may not have transferred them. So I know when I got them, when I uploaded them, they then needed to be transferred. And so I'm not quite sure your situation. Set up classes, logins. Okay, thanks. Okay, so we got set up classes, we got create logins. Which will all be pretty straightforward. Use assessments with my students. Set up, create. All right, it's looking like about everything. I agree, Misty. Be able to need to be able to access the information, determine what to do with the results. Okay, we can have some talks about that. Okay, Julian, AP Insight, the email, and if you're not sure afterwards, I will share it. In fact, what I'll do right now, I have no problems with, well, I have no problems giving you mine, but I don't know what I can do. Any of you can email me at any time, but the AP Insight help is so spot on. They get back so quickly and are so knowledgeable. That's probably your best bet. Um, they walked me through it. There's some cheat sheets that help your administrator if necessary, and they can get it done. But I will make note of that also. Okay, Julian. I wish I had more time. Okay, good, Laura. All right, we're saying amen already. We're getting spiritual. Yeah, I highly recommend doing it online if that's all at all possible. So let's go ahead and as I look at this checklist, I don't see many planning of the challenge areas. So if there's somebody that really needs that or wants that, please let me know. Um, so I won't spend much time on that. But the performance tasks, I saw one or two, and then I think that the bulk of it was right in the middle. But I'll go ahead and ask before I ignore or skip over something to make sure. Okay, Barbara. I can address that yet, right. If you haven't read that, everybody, Barbara's talking about not having access to a computer lab. In school, I agree, Kane. In school, I do it. I go to a bunch of teachers and we have laptop carts, and so tomorrow I will have everybody have their own, and we'll go through the procedure. Um, After that, they do it on their own. So they either go to the library or use computers at home. Um, if that's possible, I highly recommend it. And I usually give it, several days so that it gives them time to access a computer if there's a problem. So, okay, well, let's go ahead and start trying to answer some questions. So I'm assuming everybody has their roadmap, not necessarily with them, but they've had a chance with the other trainings to do that. And that helps so much. Um, 3 days is what the data supports. Okay. Not sure it came there. So if you need any help with the roadmap, let me know. The performance tasks, um, I have not used them extensively. So if somebody has, feel free to chirp in. But what the role of the performance task is to, I mean, they're under the Teach Lab tab, sorry, for each building block and challenge area. It builds the student's ability to apply the science practices to the concepts within the challenge area. in a practical sense, what that means, the kids are using that content, and that's what the exam's all about. And so, that is my theme this year. I'm doing science practices with a purpose every day. And so, I will look at these a little closer at these performance tests, because they not only force the students to use the science practices with those concepts, which is going to prepare them for the exam. But these assessments for learning and provide the teachers, they provide us with a rubric at the end to assess where they are. And so, are all the gaps filled, or do we need to go a different directions, and they have next steps there. Um, Very difficult to see on this PowerPoint, but you can barely see an S or a T. There's two different forms, and so that's obviously, I hope obviously, the teacher version and the student version. So answers are always good, and guidance is included in there. So um, I think this is a nice formative learning piece there. All right, so you're going to have to yell if we're going too quick for this one. So, because you can go ahead if you have if you have your students already loaded, try to do this as we go. Just give me some feedback on what you need from me. So you are going to create a class for each AP biology course you teach. So a couple of you I saw have 5 sections. You would have 5 different classes in there. You would go to this, you want to click on this link right here, and that would take you there. If you're on the home page of AP Insight, that there is a quick link, or right above the quick links, there is an icon for that also. If not, I guess what I can do, let me see if I put this. That doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem like the M class. That is not. So let me try that again. That's the link they gave me. Maybe it takes you there also, but definitely the link on the PowerPoint. I apologize. I didn't. I assumed those would be the same thing. Would get you there. So once you get there, you can see on the screenshot there, view classes, school A, you add a class. So you would click on that. And then you would do this. You would need to do this for each of your AP biology classes. So they give you, once you click on that, they would give you categories. They're going to give you a class name. I put mine, AP biology 4th period. Then they're going to ask you for primary class ID. That's what you're going to differentiate your different classes from. It can be the same as the class name. And so that's what I do. My class name and my primary class ID are the same. They are AP Biology 5th period, AP Biology 6th period, and so on. The next 2 are essential. They are there's a pull down menu for the grade. I choose 12 every time. You know, you can obviously appropriate to your students, but that's not as important, but you do have a grade. What is very important though is that on the last one that you select AP Biology. So you'll use the drop down menu. And then you'll want to make sure you hit save. Once you've done that, you have your class, so it's pretty straightforward. So kind of a reminder from the home page, there's an icon right at the top saying, add a class. You click on it, you come to the screenshot here, you hit add a class, you put in the 4 pieces of information, you save it, and then you're going to add your students. And I have a feeling many of you have probably seen these type of menus. Um, a lot of the software out there that we use have this as you build your classes. So your students that have been uploaded will be um, in all congregated in the left hand side. When you highlight their name, you will just hit add. If you select the wrong student, you can highlight them and remove. And so you're just moving them from the left side to the right side. And for those of you that have done this, and it sounds like you've already given quizzes, those of you in your second year, but your students from last year are still there. So be careful, especially if you've got a brother or sister with the same last name. And if you're not careful, you'll end up picking them. Um, I'm kind of excited. In Ohio, we have, well, this part I'm not excited about. We have to show growth. We have to be looking at data. That's not fun. But what is interesting, or what's going to be fun with this APS Insight and some of the reports you can build, is using data from over the years. So you can look at different groups at a time. So that's why they're not deleting them each year. Um, so so getting your students uploaded, um, that is your administrator. So as you signed up for this, there was an administrator. Um, unless you have, Julian, unless you have administrative rights, which I don't think you do, but I don't know, then it has to come from somebody, from the person who probably ordered this, is what I'm guessing it, did the paperwork for it. And so they will upload it. There is if they haven't received it, you can go to the AP Insight help, um, email them, and there is I call it a cheat sheet, but there's a flow chart for doing it, and there is a template of the information that they need. Um, so it's what I really caution you, and they'll probably tell you this too, but I went through this yesterday and today. When you get the template, so when you get the email, Elaine Silver Spring might have already sent that to you, Silverstone, um, but do not alter it. If you put in new columns, if you change anything, then the M-class software doesn't recognize it. I'm talking out of my league at that point, but I know that part was a little bit frustrating. So I advise if you to email and ask, but I think you probably have gotten an email with some of those directions. But they are wonderful. The people I've talked to at College Board were wonderful the last couple of days helping me through this process. So were you able to practice this on your own as I was talking? There is a guest network in there um, that you could do this. If you had no idea what to do, let me know. And what I could do is try to go to AP Insight and share that with you. I don't know. I'd have to try to do that. So let me know if you still have questions, if you're still confused about or don't have confidence in how, once you have your students uploaded, which is the administrative part, how to add a class. I'll tell you what, if you feel comfortable, could you just give me a fancy signal? So either raise your hand like I did, or um, all right, good. So you feel good with that, all right. All right, Kane, thanks. All right, I think we're good then. Once again, please, please, please don't hesitate to ask. Okay, let me make sure here. All right, well, let's then go ahead and the creating student logins. All right, Ed. Um, some of the group have been working with this for a while. I can use AP Insight Help, right, to get things started. Absolutely. It is very thorough. Um, I have no problems. You can email me. You saw my email up there, but once again, the AP Insight help desk is wonderful. So I encourage you to do that. Um, yeah, it's not that difficult because if you've got your class list, they've already got those, clustered, all those kids, and they do have that information. I happen to talk to the woman who does our grades, and within minutes she was able to take my class and give me all the information I needed. Um, they would not give me free and reduced lunch because of privacy, and College Board was okay with that. Uh, yes, thanks, Kathy. I agree. Okay. I don't think it should be once they get in there and do it, but I would encourage them because, as we all know, if you once you get going into the year, it's going to be very difficult to get back to it. Okay, so if we're all right with that, if nothing else, we've established what problems we still have. Misty, if you have a question, feel free to grab the mic, or if you just need to lower your hand, go ahead and do that. I just don't want it to ignore you. All right, the student logins. You will go to your classes, so you'll be at that site. But once again, um, when you're on the home page of the APN site, it'll get you there. But you're in the same area. You'll go to your classes, and you're going to have the option to print all the students. So they generate the program generates the login information. And so when you go there, as you see barely in the screenshot, you'll see the last name, first name, grade. There's ID that you put in there. That's all the information you provided, and then you loaded the people in those individual classes. But once you go there, then once you saved them, um, the login information is automatically generated. Um, what I do is I go ahead and I print all, and that's up at the top. If you notice in the blue uh, text box there, it says you can reset the class logins if for some reason you want to change them. You can do that. Um, you can print them from that point, and you can export them if for some reason you want to go to put them in Microsoft um, Excel. So you could print them individually, or you can print them as a class. What I do, I print them as a class. So they'll come out as a roster, and there'll be a dotted line underneath each one. I cut those out into strips of paper. So I will do that probably after this meeting, if not tomorrow morning. Um, when the kids come in, I will give that to them. I will print a second copy, and I will put it on my bulletin board for when they forget, not if, but when. But what students taught me, and I highly recommend, um, have the students take a picture of their logon with their cell phone, because my students do this at home. And so they get there and they left their folder with their strip of paper and they don't know what their login is. And so I do that with so much anymore. I mean, it's pretty sad. I'll write something on the board and the kids will come up and take a picture of it. Uh, but that is very, very helpful, because that can be frustrating for the kids and for you when they can't do it because they forgot it. But once again, you can come back there as many times. You can reset them. You can print them. So are there any questions about printing or resetting student logins? You don't all have to chime in, but if you do, yeah, I agree. Put them in their notebook. I have them both places, but the phone seems to be one of their appendages, so that's something they won't leave somewhere. So at least most of them. Okay. Once again, grab the microphone, ask questions, whatever you need. Okay, so printing the answer booklets, student documents, and proctor booklets. So I often want to look at the questions ahead of time. I think we all would want to. Are they ready for that? Um, I'm trying this year to print them out so I don't have to constantly get online to go look at them and create a binder with them. So you can do that. So the answer booklets, I practice with this to confirm, because I haven't done it this year, but I want to make sure. But the answer booklets oftentimes are simply that. They might just be bubbles if they were multiple choice. So this is where you would print them out so they could take them, that would be the answer sheet that they would fill out. So how do you get there? You go from the home page, you select the challenge area that you're interested in, and then you select the assess. Why? You're going to do the testing. That's the assess tab for that particular challenge area. Then you select the building block from a drop-down menu. So oftentimes you'll be scrolling down and you'll say, I can't find building block B. Go to building block A, look at that drop-down menu, and you'll find it in there. So I'm just revealing to you what happens to me the first time I visit in a while. And then you select the view or assign the building block quiz, and that's what that big arrow is there. And then at that point, it will give you the opportunities to print these out. So if you're playing around online, um, you can kind of practice with that and see if that works. I agree, Kane. I will need one, but I think it'll be a little more convenient. And it'll force me to pay attention to everything that's in there. And so it'll be a better working tool and not a mystery at times that it is to me. So if you want to give them the quiz as a printout, this is the area that you will print the building block quizzes off, and then you could obviously copy them and let them take them. They will fill in their answers in a bubble sheet, and that's you can scan them. And then you also, this was also if you're going to do it online, you can choose that. So Kathy says, okay, good. Thank you, Kathy, for reminding me. I didn't have that in front of me. But yes, once you click the big arrow there where it says view the quiz, it's a new icon this year. It looks a little bit different. It's more, it makes sense, more logical. And so it'll say preview so you can look at it ahead of time and then you can print them out. So thank you, Kathy. So hopefully if you needed to practice that, you've been able to do that as I've been talking. Anybody have trouble finding where to print? Any questions about that? Okay, please let me know if there's this is not making sense, or you need me to show you myself by sharing getting AP Insight up there. So assigning those, the assessment. So once again, this is, now you know this is what you're going to do. So tomorrow I'm going to not only assign it, but we're going to do one in class. So tonight or tomorrow, I'll go to the home page, select the challenge area, I'll select the assess tab once again, select the building block that I'm going to do, just like last time. And once again, I'll select view assign the building block quiz. And then next to that assessment, it will say assign. And down at the bottom there, that's where it will look. And that's what Kathy was saying. You can look at the preview box if you just want to look at them. If you assign them, then it'll take you through a series of steps that will then, when they log on, their student logons, which, by the way, when you print off those strips of paper with their login information, it has their username and password, but it also has the website. It's not the same website that you and I are on. They go to an M-class test-taking website. So a couple recommendations. I always give a window when I assign these. When the students submit, so a couple things. Once you assign it and the students take it, once the students submit their quiz, they cannot go back and retake it. I will make a big deal tomorrow. Students, make sure you are complete before you hit submit, because last year I had a couple students do one question and then just hit submit. They didn't just, for whatever reason, they didn't want to. I'm not quite sure why they hit it, but they did. And then I would have to go in and reassign it and for them to retake it. But what I would normally do, if tomorrow night was the night that I would like them to do it, I would assign it as beginning tomorrow, but then I would give it a couple extra days. And the reason for that is um, if somebody's absent, somebody misses it, whatever reason they can't, they can go back in there, and when they do the quiz, then their data becomes part of that report. You can go back there and reassign it, but then it's going to go in a different group report for that. So, but here's something to look out for. When you give that window, and Denise, I'll address that in a second. When you give that window, the students often will look at that date, so complete by, and my date, I might just put Sunday night. They might misunderstand and think that is the due date. So, it's a double-edged sword. So make sure if you leave a window, that you're clear to them what is the due date, and the only reason that you have it longer is for those that might be absent. So Denise, she says, can you change the due date? My first set of quizzes, I forgot to account for absent folks. I know last year you couldn't. I will check. They've made some adjustments over the summer, and I don't know if that's one of them. So I'm writing that down, and hopefully we can get that information. But once again, the AP Insight Help Desk probably would get you a quick answer, but I will also look and check that out. You can. Awesome. See, that's quick. Well, I did last year. I could reset the date for select students. So I think what you might have been doing, Kane, is you were reassigning it for those, possibly. So yeah, so I have a feeling you might have been reassigning, but I will definitely try to get that information. And I have all your emails here, so somebody will email that information to you. So thanks for that. So one thing you could do, I'm looking at the frequently asked questions here, and it says if students are absent during the testing window, can they take the quiz on paper if the rest of the class took it online? And the answer is yes. So that might be an alternative. Um, Denise, for this particular one, print out a copy, have them take it, and then you can scan in their responses. So that seems to be the quick answer to your situation now, but I still want to know that other answer. Can students take the quiz on mobile devices? Yep. My students did last year, and that's what really made it nice, is um, they could get it done while they're getting driven home, waiting for practice. They didn't have to have a laptop. We are a bring your own device um, school, and so there's some I've seen. I'm pretty sure iPads also, but definitely they're yeah, it's in mobile devices. So any of those are beneficial. There will be a window here, a little bit for scanning, but it's pretty straightforward. If you look on this screenshot, I guess I'll go ahead and say right now, right below it, there's a check mark, and I believe that says scan. And so what you would do is scan them in, your answers, the bubble sheet, save it as a PDF, click on that scan, and it'll walk you right through it. But once again, we'll have another window for that. Okay, any other? You're welcome, Denise. I'm going to go ahead and go as Kathy's typing. We'll see. Oh, okay, Kathy. I didn't. I don't know if that's new this year or I got lucky and had it click. But please take note to what Kathy said there. It says on the Create Class page, there is a checkbox you need to click if you want them to take it on their mobile device. So the first question I have, and I think the answer is yes, is if you click it, does that inhibit any other ways of taking it? I'm thinking the answer is no. That just might be. I don't remember clicking it last year. My students were able to, so I will pay attention to it. But you're right, Kathy. It might be the default. So, but thank you for bringing that to our attention. Okay, let's continue. So analyzing the assessment results with your students. This is the next step guide, helps you and your students to analyze feedback results, reflect on student performance, and use the meaningful feedback to improve. So you've given the assessment, so now what do you do? So you go to the Act tab. The document's the same for all the building blocks, so you can just do it once and copy it. The 20 to 30 minutes is probably right in class, but once they understand it, whether they do it 10, I discuss this, to be honest. Other people can please chime in. I want them doing this. I encourage it. We will do it together in class the first couple times. But then after that, so Denise, you were asking earlier ideas to hold them accountable or encourage them. So the next steps, I want to develop my effective use of these. So right now, early on, they are homework assignments. So we'll do them together early, and then the next couple they need to do on their own. Now these are for challenge areas, so this isn't the entire. Um, and I take that back. They can do them for each building block. Um, the and so they'll be homework assignments, so they'll have to hand those in, but they'll have to do them on their own. What I do like to encourage, because my personal philosophy is, the best scores I ever had were when students did nothing but read, not doing a lot of to-do work, but actually working to understand. And so I give 1 point extra credit if the student did one of these. That doesn't sound like much, but what I want to do, I do the same. I give them a 1 point extra credit for Cornell notes on a chapter, or I do 1 point extra credit for a reading guide. Once I feel like they've been exposed to all of these tools to learn, then it's up to them to choose what vehicle is best for them. That's my own approach. Now, that can change if the student is struggling, and where then I can make it mandatory. And in the grade programs nowadays, you can put it in there and leave it blank, and it doesn't affect somebody who you don't assign it to. But if you do, you can put it in as a uh, 0 out of 10 points. So as an example there. So that's my approach. What I want them to do is I sign it early so I can help them learn how to be reflective learners. And then I try to let them decide whether it's a valuable tool for them, unless they start to struggle. Hope that made sense. I rambled a little bit there, or maybe a lot. Any questions, please feel free. Okay, so entering free response scores. Ladies and gentlemen, this is time consuming. Denise, with 5 sections, is time consuming. Um, but as I see the value of reports, I really want to, um, I really want to make myself do this, and maybe even get, I really can't give an aid because of privacy. Um, but what you can see there is, so the challenge area, free responses, you have to grade. Um, Last year, I gave some free responses as part of my summative test, and others as um, I guess you'd call them summative, but more practice. So I some of them we graded together. Some of them I graded as a homework assignment, but I used them. But what you would do is, let's say the first question is a 10-point question, and um, it has, A is 3 points, B is 3 points, C is 2 points, and D is 2 points. You would enter the scores for each of those. So I can't read what the screenshot says, but that very well could be 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. And then on the top is all the students' names. And by doing that, you get the same instant report. And if I haven't emphasized it yet, that is the beautiful thing about this program, is once the students take a building block quiz, they get that immediate feedback. And then as the whole class has taken it, you get that group report and decide what you want to do with it. And I might be able to address Denise's question again here. And so, if you feel like you know, by entering this, you might surprise yourself and find that, hey, everybody's missing the points on 1B, and so then you can go back and look. And so that's the what next um, that we can address. But um, sometimes it just tells me, hey, this is a weakness, and I need to look into it a little bit more. Sometimes I address it right there. Sometimes I know, hey, they're struggling analyzing data. So in my warm-ups in the beginning of class or in the next unit, I need to work on that skill. So I'm not, I don't necessarily bring to a close every misconception or every gap. If I feel like professionally, I know I can fill that gap at a later time and try to be a little bit more efficient. Otherwise, you can just spend a lot of time doing these activities. I'll make sure I've covered in there um, information here, everything that you need to do. So you would have the students do the challenge area, whether it's at home for homework or whether it's part of a test. You will have to grade it. Um, and then if you enter those scores, and they would get some feedback uh, that could help them, also help you with the what's next. Once again, if you wanted to practice that, if you don't have pictures and while this is fresh in your mind, you do have a demo account. So if you go to your My Classes, there is a demo account with, I think, 15 fictitious students. And you could, right now, you could enter scores just to see how you know, just so you know that you know how to do that. Uh, you're able to do that tomorrow if you want to. And once again, you can email me, and if I have a quick answer, I'll tell you. Otherwise, I'll encourage you to go to AP Insight Help Desk again. But once you do that, you'll have their responses saved, and then you'll all have your feedback reports, which are absolutely wonderful. Let me give you an example. Last year, um, I thought my students just knew what oxidation reduction reactions were. I thought they nailed it. Everything I did told me that they got it. Well, the building block quizzes report told me that otherwise. They did know the definitions. They were able to do what I had thought they could do. But when it asked them to identify in a diagram where the oxidation reactions were taking place, they they flopped miserably. And the suggestion in the what next was have the students as a group open it up. So we went to glycolysis, and I asked them, all right, everybody point to where the first oxidation occurs. And I've never seen so many floating fingers as they were going over acting like they know where, but they never did. And so as a group, that what next suggestion took 5 minutes, and we were able to solve that problem. So some of these are the what next are homework assignments, some of them are activities, but some of them are just little teaching suggestions, little nuggets that I was able to help them with something I hadn't been able to do for the previous 16 years, which uh, frustrates you, but also is can't look back, you can only look forward there. All right, so the next one are scanning. And I think, Kane, you were asking somebody. Yep, that was you. The assessment. So, for if you give them in paper, you're going to print the test booklet and the student answer booklet, and you don't have to teach the proctor. So the proctor booklet are the answers. For the free response, by the way, check the number of pages before you print it out, because there's the rubric and then there's all kinds of examples, and you're going to have stacks and stacks of paper. So I don't ever print out the entire proctor booklet anymore. I'll go through and pick the pages with the rubrics on them. But anyway, so the test booklet is going to have the questions, and the answer booklet will be where they put their answers. So they'll fill their answers on the bubble sheet, and then you can scan them in, whether it's on your copier, you know, small copier, big, any way you can scan it, do that to your email, and then you save them as a PDF, and then you're going to you upload it. So once you have the file, log into AP Insight and go to assess. And so it's where that big arrow is pointing right now. It's right below the view assign. And once again, it's in the assess tab too, the same one that we were before, I'm sorry. And then it just follows the on-screen instructions. And those that I've talked to said this is pretty straightforward. I have not done this. So if somebody has, I'm assuming if I have a class of 24 students, this can be one PDF. Is that a true statement? Or do I need to have 24 PDFs? I'm assuming it's one, but I would love for somebody, since I don't know, and I don't want to say something wrong, to chime in. It says here, with most classes, you can be completed in fewer than 5 minutes. So I'm pretty confident that that is the case. Uh, you can do it as one PDF. Once again, any questions? Please grab the microphone, type, whatever you need to do. I know it's getting late, at least over here on the East Coast, but we're getting close. So the next step guides. Um, After taking the quiz or assessment, use the next steps guide to analyze the quiz and assessment results and take the best course of action. And so that was one of the things that I shared with you with the textbook. Some of those next steps are something you can do as a teacher with the whole group. You might assign to small groups. I don't have any problem assigning homework to a group that needs it, and especially, you know, if you sell it to them in that this is a gap, this is what's going to help you. Um, I tell them I'm not a believer in busy work, so I'm not going to give it to everybody. And so it's pretty easy in most grade programs, I think, that to be able to put in grades for those that are assigned and no grades, and it doesn't harm them if you don't assign it. Just my approach last year, anyways. So once again, it's on the Act tab for that challenge area, and you'll select the next step guide for the building block or challenge area. And you can print the student version, and what that one once again is uh, um, the reflective approach. Get the kids thinking about it. Misty, do you have a question? You want to? You can grab your microphone. Oh, okay, you had your hand up, so I didn't know you needed it. Okay. Once again, I think I told you earlier, the next step guide, I was getting ahead of myself. It's the same, so you can print a bunch out and use it for whenever you want. I personally do not use this every time. I use it early. I try to get them thinking about it and kind of go through a process. And if they're thinking about it, that's really what I want them to do, not necessarily fill out and answer a bunch of questions every time. My goal is this to be a natural thought process, learning process. That's all right, Misty. So it probably took me that long to realize it was still up. Okay, for getting the reports, love these. So it's from the Act tab. Um, so let's say I assign this tomorrow night, and I'm going to come in Thursday um, morning, and this is what I'll do. I'll go to the Act tab for that challenge area. I'll select View Latest Results, and you're going to see all the assessments and quizzes you have given for the entire year. So you select the one. So the tip they give right there is you can also select View Your Results from the quick links on the home page. Um, I never think quickly enough to do that, so I always go through the whole process. But anyways, as you see in that screenshot, lots of different colors. I have a nice diverse group of kids. They do pretty well. I don't think I've ever gotten a completely green bar. You don't have to miss. You miss one, it's automatic yellow, and if you miss two, it's almost automatically red, depending on it. Um, and so, don't look at these necessarily as um, they the students, it's not the same way we look at it as summative tests that we create. There are so many reasons that I have found that the students miss these. And oftentimes I will take the questions and I will project them afterwards, the ones that most of the students have missed. And that's what I do with these reports is one, is there something that everybody is missing? I click on it and then I try to figure out why are they missing it. I will tell you for this first one, because it's a lot of the review material that we've done or things that they were supposed to have before, we'll project the question up and we will talk out. I'll do the next step guide and say, why did we miss this? And we'll talk out loud together, um, through it. I certainly don't have enough time to do that for every one of them. Um, and you can look at each student, you can look at the whole class together. So you can see each student's results by clicking on the student name. Then you can the detailed report, you click on the name of that quiz or that assessment. If they haven't taken the exam, they won't be there. Yay. All right, Barbara, good job. So that kind of tells you that, it took from I think you're the one that had an earlier phone call, took about 45 minutes to get done. So very doable. All righty. Lots of things came through the chat. I don't know if I missed anybody's questions, so please, if I've missed them, if you have additional questions, right now, I have a question, can we change the date, that I will look into. I know there's still some issues about uploading. I will convey that, and hopefully they can get a hold of you, but please reach out. Remind me tomorrow if you have that issue. Nobody at your school knows how to upload the students. We will get that done. Um, but either chat box or microphone, please, if you have anything else that we can talk about. You notice on the bottom are the resources, so you've got your links for the help. So it's not necessarily a teeny tiny box, as Kathy told us. That's down there. Um, this PLC has been recorded, so if you wanted to go back, if you're having trouble with insomnia and wanted to cure it, you could watch it. But the share what works is something that I just really hope takes off, and it's going to depend on us um, contributing, because if it's a smaller community, if we're all on there, then I think we're likely to go back because it'll be worth it. So, Julian, do you have a question? Okay, you wrote one. I'm sorry. So I've got a couple things here. So I'm going to go down in order here. So Denise said, just to clarify, in some cases, you use extra credit for the students to complete a next step. In other situations, you assign individual students next steps. So, yes, so that's pretty much a politically vague answer. Um, Denise, what I will do, if I feel the first time I feel like there is a definite misunderstanding that I feel the next step will benefit them, I will assign it as a group um, homework. Uh, why? Because I want them to see that they exist, the next steps. I want them to see, hopefully, the value of doing it. After that, then I put it into the category of these extra credit. Sometimes you got to do extra to learn. Some students can read and they do it. Some students need to have that reading guide to help them comprehend. Likewise with this, if I see students really struggling, they're doing, they can't learn. They're struggling, and then I will start picking and choosing assignments, and the next step guides could be one of them. Julian, no, you don't, they won't, I don't think, I shouldn't speak for them, but I don't think they will upload it. It needs to be your administrator. They will certainly walk you through it. So if I'm forgetting it, you told me differently earlier, I apologize, but your administrator will have the information they need, the student IDs, all that information. What they will give you, AP Insight will give you the template. I think you might have even gotten an email that has that on there from Elaine. So I would forward that to them if they don't have it. They would fill it in and upload it with the instructions that were given to them, because they have to have all that student information, and they really would like to have information about their um, free and reduced lunch. And so, because this, part of the original goal of this program was to help students, the ones and the twos, to be, to get threes and fours, to provide help for them. So that information helps them um, with their goal of building more of these. It's, the getting grants and that type of thing is what I am assuming. All right, well, good. I'm going to be doing it tomorrow also, okay? So we'll dig for the, I'll be thinking of, you know, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something funny. I'm lost. So I'll be thinking of you tomorrow. All right, so Denise, do you know how many teachers are participating in the program? I don't know. They had a very good turnout. I don't have that number. It's certainly in the hundreds of districts, but I don't know the exact number. So Kane, you used it as a completion assignment the first time, so that in a way, yeah, same thing. I would. That's how I would grade it. Yeah, thank you, Kane. It would be a completion assignment. Um, so can I answer yes, Kane? A or B? Yes. So the first time it is exactly what you did, a completion assignment. After that, it is one. So if it is something they do on their own, period, then I have this category of extra credit. Like I said, a whole chapter of Cornell notes is 1 point. A reading guide is 1 point, and I usually max out. So if it's a 3 chapter test, I'll max out at 5 points. Um, it seems to work. So likewise, I would put this in the same category, assuming that it was rigorous enough. Um, if the student, if I've got a D student and they just need help, and I feel like this is the what next, that activity is going to benefit them, I will have it as an extra assignment. Thanks, Game. Okay, thanks, Julian. 3 in South Carolina. All right. Well, I I really don't know the number. I do know it's growing. I do know they're doing going to release 2 more next year. I think it's chemistry. Well, I know it's chemistry and I think world history, and they want to continue to expand. And the more they expand, the greater the chance that cost will decrease. The head of AP at the open forum announced that a research showed that if enough schools, if they reached a critical number, I don't know what that number, he didn't tell us, if they reached a critical number, then by simply adding $1 to the cost of everybody's exam, they would be able to offer it for free. So it doesn't do much for us this year or probably in my career since I'm at year 28, but it's really exciting for the future. I think this is a very, very strong tool. Um, Once again, very steep learning curve. All right, so this is the Share What Works. Please check it out. Uh, that's kind of one of my goals this year because I get so busy, I don't get on there, and I need to. So hopefully you do also, and if we all do this, especially in the next couple of weeks, maybe we can make it a habit and we can help each other and share not just what works in AP Insight, but beyond that also. Um, so once again, these little problems that you're having, there is a moderator that is actually joined me to train the API trainers at the end of May last year. She is the moderator. Her picture comes up when you log on, and she's on that every day. So if you have a question, either AP Insight email or this Share What Works, but hopefully we can get beyond that. Also, in addition to that, share strategies, resources. So please let us know. This is so new. These PLCs uh, are something that can be very valuable. If they're valuable, you'll use them. If not, you won't, and we don't want the latter. So please take this survey by clicking on that link and give us your feedback there. Give you a second to do that. And you can do this a little later if you want. I want so we can bring closure, I want to just give you some more information, then I'll go back to that. There's your AP Insight at collegeboard.org. There's a phone number if it's urgent. Um, please use it. They're wonderful. I'm going to say wonderful ladies. I haven't talked to a guy out in this yet, so I'm assuming. Very knowledgeable, very helpful. So utilize that. It can be frustrating, it can be overwhelming, and so use that help. I Because of that, the school year's already started. If you're like me, all teachers, we're already overwhelmed. I encourage you to find a piece of this tool. I would recommend the building block quizzes and use that, get comfortable with it, and then slowly expand. That was my strategy last year, and um, like I told you, my students thought it was very, very valuable. So I'll stick around here. I got lots of papers to grade. It'll probably be more than 5 minutes if you have any more questions. But once you've completed the survey, you're free to go. So thank you very much for attending. I'm going to put you back there just in case you didn't hear that. So I'm jealous, Kane. Congrats, retirement. Yes, thanks. I agree. The building blocks, they help. We all know formative assessment is great. It's just very difficult to do. And we now have a tool to do it. So feel free I'll be around to go. But also feel free if you have any more questions. You're welcome, Denise. Good luck to you guys. You have my email way up there. But it's just jsemanik@gmail. So you see my name in the list of participants, attendees. So that's very easy. That's huge, Kane. It's that reflective learning. I know we all get turned off sometimes with EduSpeak, that metacognition and that, but bottom line, if they're doing it, they're learning. If you're doing it, they're only getting about 10% of that. A lot of people were for a lot of different reasons, but I wasn't sure. When you've been in it a long time and you have tools that work, um, you gotta, we're scientists, you gotta get data, and I got it last year. As I said, that survey, I'd gladly share it with you, all the responses. I'm not making this up. Yep, I'm getting philosophical now, which is great. I love it. Thanks, Cass. That's awesome. Although now you're rubbing it in that you're so far. I'm feeling like I'm behind already. Kidding. Yeah, I had a teacher email me and saying, are we expected to do everything that's on AP Insight? Nobody's expecting anything. I mean, I don't mean that this is going to sound maybe unprofessional, but you paid, so they gave you the tool. You can do with it what you want. The reality is, it is a tool, and it's got some great things. But you're the professional. Figure out what works for you, and just start slowly. So you use whatever, or don't use whatever helps your students the best. Okay, I feel better. Thanks for letting me off the hook. Well, Julian, I put mine is there's several roadmaps on the share what works. If you did not get there, if you aren't feel comfortable navigating there, email me, and I'll just send you a copy of mine. Not that we teach the same way, but it's just one more perspective. But I believe there's several on the Share What Works. What do we joke about? We're going to figure this all out and then retire. You're welcome, guys. One thing about AP Bio, we're all in it together. Have a good night. You're welcome, Mr. Markham Julian. Welcome, Julian. Oh, I will. Okay, now I remember you, Kane. I will. Absolutely. He is. We need to email another time. He's doing some great stuff at our school with the environmental stuff. Good. I'm glad. Time is precious this time of year, so I'm glad it was helpful. Thanks. Good night, Kane.